Cain and Abel, humanity's first conflict and the journey of redemption. The story of Cain and Abel, recorded in the book of Genesis chapter 4, is one of the oldest and most profound narratives in the Bible. It not only recounts the first murder in history, but also offers an insight into human nature, the relationship between God and humanity, and the concept of divine justice and mercy. We will explore this story in greater detail, including historical, cultural, and theological aspects that can enrich our understanding of this fundamental narrative. After being expelled from the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve found themselves in a drastically changed world. The earthly paradise they had known had been transformed into a place where work and suffering were inevitable parts of life. The Garden of Eden represented abundance and harmony, but the land outside it was barren and challenging, reflecting the divine curse that Adam and Eve had brought upon the world through their disobedience. Cain, the first son of Adam and Eve, was born into an environment where agricultural work was vital for survival. As a farmer, he had to deal with land that, now cursed, did not produce fruit easily. The Bible doesn't specifically detail the type of farming Cain did, but we can imagine that he probably grew grains, vegetables, and possibly fruit. Cain's agricultural work involved preparing the land, sowing, watering, and harvesting, all under the harsh conditions of a post-Eden world. Abel, Cain's younger brother, chose to be a sheep herder. Raising sheep required different skills from cultivating the land. Abel had to look after his flocks, ensuring that they were fed, protected, and kept healthy. Sheep also provided wool, milk, and meat, essential elements for subsistence and the economy of that time. Abel, therefore, was involved in a type of work that, although also challenging, had a different nature to agriculture, with a focus on animal management and care. The decisive moment in the narrative occurs when Cain and Abel present offerings to God. Cain brought fruit from the land, while Abel offered the best parts of his sheep. The exact reason why God rejected Cain's offering is not explicitly detailed in the biblical text, but we can consider a few possible reasons. Firstly, the quality of the offering may have played a crucial role. Abel offered the best parts of his flock, demonstrating a spirit of sacrifice and devotion, while Cain may have only given part of his harvest without the same dedication. Furthermore, the Bible highlights that God looked upon Abel and his offering with favor, while Cain's offering was rejected. This suggests that the attitude and sincerity of the giver were important factors. The rejection of Cain's offer and the acceptance of Abel's offer provoked a violent and tragic response. Cain, consumed by envy and resentment, invited Abel to the field. The narrative doesn't give any details about the conversation between the brothers, but we can imagine that Cain was trying to hide his true feelings while he plotted his terrible deed. In the field, away from the gaze of others, Cain attacked Abel and killed him. This act of violence not only represented the first murder in history, but also symbolized the depth of human corruption and the capacity of sin to transform the human heart. After the murder, God confronts Cain, asking where Abel was. God's question is not out of ignorance, but to make Cain confront the reality of his actions. Cain's response, "Am I my brother's keeper?" reveals his attempt to remove himself from responsibility. This response demonstrates Cain's disconnection from the gravity of his crime and his desire to avoid facing the truth. God then reveals that Abel's blood cries out from the earth, a powerful image that symbolizes the demand for justice and the pain over the loss of an innocent. The metaphor of blood crying out from the earth is a way of expressing that injustice cannot be ignored, and that the earth itself bears witness and demands reparation for such acts. Cain's punishment is severe. He is cursed and becomes a wanderer. Cain's curse is a reflection of his new reality. He will be displaced from his homeland and live a life of uncertainty and insecurity. The expression wanderer and vagabond suggests a life of constant displacement without a home or resting place. This condition is a just punishment, given the seriousness of the crime Cain has committed. However, Cain's reaction reveals the depth of the curse's impact on him. Cain expresses his fear that others might kill him because of his punishment, which indicates how harshly he perceived his own fate. God, in his justice, places a sign on Cain to protect him from being killed. The sign is a crucial part of the narrative as it demonstrates the complexity of divine justice. Although Cain has committed a serious crime, God still grants him protection, offering a way to preserve his life and allow him to continue living, despite the consequences of his actions. The sign of Cain has been interpreted in various ways, but it is generally seen as a symbol of God's mercy, which, even when applying justice, offers a chance for survival and redemption. After being expelled, Cain settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. The name Nod reflects Cain's condition of wandering and displacement. Cain's building of a city is an important point in the narrative. The Bible does not detail the construction of the city, but it is possible that Cain used his skills and knowledge to establish a new center of life and activity. The city was named after his son Enoch, which demonstrates the continuity of life and civilization, even in the midst of exile and the curse. The building of a city can be seen as a Cain's attempt to create a new identity and a new social order for himself and his descendants. Cain's wife is a significant aspect of the narrative that has generated much discussion and speculation. The Bible doesn't provide specific information about her, but tradition generally suggests that Cain married a sister, according to the reference to other sons and daughters of Adam and Eve in Genesis 5:4. This marriage between siblings would have been common practice at the time and necessary for the expansion of the human population. Another possibility is that Cain married a woman from a larger population that is not detailed in the biblical account. This interpretation allows for the existence of other human groups outside the immediate narrative of Adam and Eve. The story of Cain and Abel offers a profound insight into the nature of sin, justice, and divine mercy. The narrative highlights the seriousness of sin and its consequences, showing how envy and anger can lead to destructive actions. God's response to Cain's transgression reveals the complexity of divine justice, which combines punishment with mercy. Cain's sign of protection and continued life after exile reflect God's ability to offer opportunities for redemption and survival, even in the face of the most serious transgressions. Furthermore, the story of Cain and Abel invites us to reflect on our own nature and behavior. Sin, when left unchecked, can lead to devastating actions. Cain, despite having received God's warning and guidance, was unable to master his feelings of envy and anger, resulting in a terrible act. This narrative challenges us to recognize and deal with our own emotions and to seek justice and mercy in our lives. The story also emphasizes the importance of obedience and sincerity in our relationship with God. Abel's offering made with the best of his flock is an example of devotion and respect, while Cain's offering, possibly made more casually, reflects an attitude that was not well received. Cain's building of the city and the continuity of life in Nod illustrate human resilience and the ability to create new forms of life and society, even in the midst of adversity. The narrative shows that despite difficulties and challenges, life continues to develop and thrive. This is a reminder that even when we face punishment and hardship, there is always the possibility of growth and renewal. The main message of the story of Cain and Abel is an invitation to reflection and self-evaluation. The story reminds us of the importance of dealing with our emotions in a healthy way and of seeking justice and mercy in our actions and relationships. We must be aware of the impact of our choices and seek to live according to the principles of justice, love, and respect that God teaches us. The story of Cain and Abel also reminds us that, despite the consequences of our mistakes, God's mercy is always available, offering opportunities for repentance and change. As we reflect on this narrative, we are called to consider the importance of sincerity in our devotion and the responsibility we have towards our fellow human beings. We should seek to live in a way that honors God and contributes to building a just and compassionate society. The story of Cain and Abel is a powerful reminder that, even in the darkest situations, the light of divine justice and mercy can illuminate the path to redemption and renewal. May we learn from this story and apply its lessons to our own lives, always seeking to live with integrity, love, and respect for others, and trusting in God's guidance and protection on our journey